Wait, is your urethra your bum? Oh my god! Oh my god! It's the pee hole. It's the pee hole. Hello guys, and welcome to Love What Luck. I have been so excited to record today. Like, you honestly have no idea how excited I've been. Basically, I went to Dubai, didn't I? And I pre-recorded the episodes for when I was there. So I haven't sat and recorded for like 2 weeks. It feels like I've had 2 weeks away and I felt it. I've got a really nice story for us this week, so let's get into it. Hi Sadie, just wanted to share a short and sweet story and hopefully give some hope to other people in similar shoes. I was married to my ex for 7 years. He worked away a lot and I was always left holding the baby, literally. In the beginning, I always felt like we were such a strong team and could work through whatever life threw at us. But as the years went by, I felt increasingly lonely and unsupported now married. When lockdown hit, he started being at home more and I started a small business online, which he was very critical of. Red flag. All whilst being a mum to our little one who was only then a toddler. The cracks started to appear when he would mock my small business, comparing it to his very successful one, pick holes in my wins, and generally complain that my new venture was taking me away from my core responsibilities, cleaning and managing the home. I'm sorry, sir, take those 1930 beliefs and take them back to the history class that you got them from, where you can tell people and they'll be outraged, because that's just not how it goes anymore. I'm sorry. The world hasn't been running like that for a long time and it's not going to go back to that anytime soon. Separately, quick segue, I had a really good conversation last night with a woman who's had children older. To be fair, it was so interesting. I'll probably do a little segment on it, so I won't go into too much detail because this literally could probably be a topic. But anyway, she was talking about having kids and how hard it was, and I was just like, do you know what, I just don't even know if that's for me. And then I was thinking how good it is now, this day and age, where as a woman you can decide, you know, I don't want to have kids, or I don't want to have kids yet. There's so many more people like not getting married, not having children, and basically steering away from the life that I feel like has been drilled into us for years. As a woman, you get married, you have a baby, and then you look after the baby, and that's it, and you clean the house. Well, no more. And I hope this man is listening. He's not, obviously, but he should listen, that shit doesn't run like that anymore, mate. After 18 months, I folded the business, even though I'd had some great success, which I was sad about. And I'm so sad about that for you. I hate that, how somebody's comments can have that much of effect on you, that it'll actually stop you from, like, continuing and doing your dreams. I follow this therapist on Twitter, obviously, and she said this big thing which was really good, right? How women are conditioned to be people pleasers. She said that as women, we are conditioned from a young age to focus on the comfort of others before our own. And the messages are, you don't want to upset them, do you? Don't be difficult. Why are you being dramatic? A classic. Hug your uncle or he'll feel bad. That's another classic. Like, come back when you're not upset. Which is a big one, especially for me today, because I feel so bad for being upset and apologising for it, but actually, I shouldn't. If somebody's upset me, I should actually just tell them that they have upset me. And the last one was don't make your father mad. So yeah, I feel like those examples, I don't know about you, but I feel like we've all probably heard them, or like similar at some point in our lives, and it is like conditioning to like make other people feel okay. So he's putting down her business and she's like, right, okay, I'll stop it then, I'll stop it. And I'm not saying every woman does that, but I do think for some sick and weird reason that is like quite normalised. I don't know why, but it is. But I really pray that listening to this episode, if you've still got, this is for the writer of the story, if you've still got something in you that you want to do that business up again, start it up again, gal. Don't let somebody's words stop you from doing what you want to do. You've just got to focus on yourself. We only get one life and we can't be sacrificing what we want to do for other people. Woo! Preaching it today. Absolutely preaching it. Okay, let us get back into the story. Quick recap. This woman was married for 7 years. He worked away a lot. She was stuck looking after the baby. She felt really lonely and he was very critical of her and everything she did. And she started her own business. He would be very critical of that, downplay it, basically making her feel like shit, so she folded the business. After that, I got myself a great job working for a big company with great people. One day, I came home from work excitedly sharing my story of who I'd met that day. As I was talking, he continued to tap away on his phone and I said, "Are you listening?" He turned to me with a smile and with a little laugh he said, "Sorry, I'm just not that interested." Excuse you? I would want to launch that phone out of his hand and down his throat. I'd be like, not that interested in your wife's day? You think you can look at me and tell me you're not interested in me? I could no. I would choose violence. Quite simply, I would choose violence. It was the straw that broke the camel's back. Hallelujah. 2 weeks later, I told him I was done, wanted out the marriage and would pack up and leave that weekend. I love it. He didn't cry, didn't question it. He didn't even seem remotely sad, even though I was crying my eyes out throughout the whole day, feeling destroyed by what I was doing. What a dickhead. I never looked back, got my life together in a new home, still have that awesome job, and with all the love and support of my family and friends, I'm infinitely happier out of that marriage than I was in it. Know your worth and never let someone who should pump you up drag you down. I love this story for so many reasons. The first one is that she just got up and left. She came home one day, didn't want to hear from her on her day, and she was like, "Do you know what? I'm done." And I just love that level of like knowing your worth, knowing what respect you need, and just being like, you don't even deserve a conversation about this, I'm leaving. The second reason I love the story is it's not a happy ending because she's met someone. Like, she's by herself and she's thriving. She's saying she's got a family, a friend, she got this amazing job she loves, and that's the happy ending. And I feel like that's really rare on a story, to just have a happy ending. Not that you've met somebody else. It's not like I've remarried now and I'm super happy. Which, by the way, I love all those stories. Obviously, I literally got the podcast for those types of stories. But I think it's good sometimes to just be reminded that a happy ending isn't always in another relationship. It can literally just be by yourself. And she literally says how much happier she is alone. And yeah, doing so much better. So as soon as I saw that message, I was like, this one needs to come on the podcast. So thank you so much for sharing that. I do need more stories, guys. So please, please, please help the podcast get out. Like, comment, share, please subscribe, follow me on Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening or watching. Come give me a follow because it's just a huge, huge help to get the podcast out. If you like a reel, please share it with your friends. Just help me get the podcast out because we need more stories, and the way I get more stories is by reaching more people, and obviously more people being like triggered. We need people's trauma to be triggered, so they can be like, wow, they sound like an arsehole, that reminds me of my ex, and then they can send me their story. Wow, that's a crazy penis story, that reminds me of somebody I slept with not that long ago. Like, I need to reach new audiences all the time so that we can get some good stories. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll notice I'm not in my studio today, and I'm sad about that as well, but nobody's mentioned it to me. But there is a fan in that studio room that I had asked if I could turn it down. There's no like dials in the room, and basically they told me no, it's like a whole big central system, I'd need an engineer, all the shit that I didn't even take in. And yeah, I feel like there's like a background noise which just isn't good enough. So I don't know, I do love recording in there, but yeah, I'm not in it this week, and this is just a push that please help me get into a studio because that's my absolute dream. So yeah, just please leave me a review. There's also a Q&A on Spotify now, which I loved. I read one of your reviews on there the other week, which made Made my day as always. But yeah, I feel like I'm still going on about it. Just come follow me, guys. Please just help the gal out. I actually have a couple of follow-up stories from, I think definitely last week's episode, maybe the episode before. But the first one is, last week I was talking about periods. Well, a couple of days ago I was listening to Shits and Gigs, which I absolutely love the podcast, and I will not badmouth my guys because I love it. But they read a story out they read one out and then they both said a story. So it was actually super common. There was like 3 stories about the time that they'd slept with a girl and the girl had come on, right? Happened to us all. I obviously spoke about 2 stories about it last week. Quite a normal thing. But I think it was James on Shits and Gigs said, he was like saying the story, how it happened, and yeah, there's blood everywhere, blood all over the walls, blood on his fingers, blood on his stomach. He's like, I thought I killed her. Like, really funny or ever. And then he said, it's just so embarrassing for the girl though. And I was like, wait a second. No. What, you think I'm going to be embarrassed by something that Mother Nature does? Mother Nature does so many wonderful things for us. I'm not going to be embarrassed about what she brings every single woman every single month. You think that's something to be embarrassed about? No, it's not. Do you know what it reminded me of? Do you know Mean Girls? And Janice says about, is it Damien? Is it Damien? I'm going to need to check that. Oh my god, how bad is this that I cannot remember? The Mean Girls cast. Is it Damien? It is Damien, okay. Okay, I thought I was like losing my mind there for a second. No, when she says, this is Damien, he's too gay to function. And then Lindsay Lohan says to somebody else, this is Damien, he's too gay to function. And Janice is like, that's only okay when I say it. That's how I felt about periods. I was like, I can talk and say, oh my god, it's so embarrassing, I bled over the bed. But if a guy says it's embarrassing, I'm like, no, actually, mate, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's a natural, wonderful thing. But I stand by it. Shouldn't be embarrassing for a girl. In fact, out of my 2 stories last week, the guy that handled it badly, he should be the one that should be embarrassed. I'm not going to be embarrassed for bleeding over your bed. It's a risk you take. It's a risk you take. The second follow-up story, I think this is from the week before's episode. Remember I was talking about dating somebody and then having them on social media too soon and seeing something that you don't like about them and it being an ick? Or people saying to you, my friend used to date him, he's an arsehole. And me saying like, I hate that, you should just be able to meet people, take them at face value, yeah? Well, I got a DM saying that that's not always the way to go. I have to read out to you, listen to this. I went out for drinks with some of the girls from the gym and the gossip begins. Me. I started seeing this guy while I was away. He's amazing. It's all so good. Friend. Oh, amazing. What's his name? I then proceeded to tell her, turns out he has a girlfriend of nearly 8 years who he lives with. He told me he didn't have any social media. She showed me. He did, obviously, and included photos of his girlfriend on there, of course. So I guess sometimes it's good people having opinions and being honest about guys. Can you even? 8-year relationship, living together, and meeting a girl and saying that you haven't got social media, when in fact you've got a whole other double life that is all over social media, but I'm going to make sure you can't find it. You might as well give a fake name. Like, you might as well just go ahead with a full-blown lie. Live the double life. Do you know a similar thing happened to me, right? When I was in uni, I met this guy and I was instantly obsessed with him. Like, literally, this has happened to me before and I've said the story. I don't know why I have this feeling. It's happened to me twice where, funny enough, the 2 guys look really similar as well. I quite clearly have a type, but I saw this guy and I was like, wow, you were the one for me. You were the one. I fancy you so much that I believe that we are going to end up together forever. And this is my life, right? I was 19. I actually had a boyfriend at the time, but things weren't going well. I was basically just waiting for the right time to break up with him. But so anyway, I start speaking to this guy, like we start messaging a little bit, but nothing happens because I've got a boyfriend, yeah? And then, I mean, we're in uni for 3 years. I don't really know what happens, but we never get together. And it's kind of like sporadic, like we finish uni and then like once in a blue moon, like out of nowhere you would message me and I'd be like, oh my God, now is our time. And then nothing would happen again, right? So I don't know how many years after uni this was now, but it was a while. Like I had actually forgotten about this guy. I was moving on with my life from this fictional relationship that I was in, right? So I actually completely forgot about him. And I get a message on my phone on social media, I think it was like Facebook or something, saying like, hey, you know, been a while, how are you? I don't think he said he was thinking about me anyway, but I was like, oh my God, now is the time. Now is actually the time. This is the love of my life. Naturally, we were just waiting until we were older. And this time the conversation was really different. You said to me, something like, you know, in uni I was always quite shy to come and talk to you properly, but I can't remember what he said, but along the lines I took it as, you were too shy back then to make a move, now you're grown, you're still thinking about me, and you feel the same way, you think I'm the one too, and I'm not crazy, and we're meant to be together. So that was the belief that I went in, which is a lot of pressure to put on somebody that you've never even been on a date with and you barely know. But that's what I was doing, right? So we're chatting and he asks me out and I'm like, finally, this guy has asked me out and it's going to happen. We're going to start dating. This is so long ago, right, that I can't remember the details. I'm sorry. But it was definitely on Facebook. I'm just scrolling through my timeline. No, I didn't even stalk this guy. Like, no, I said, like, when I don't look at people's social media, like, I don't look into anything. So I'm like, he's messaged me. There's nothing weird to me that he's messaged me after 5 years. Obviously, he's thinking about me. Of course he is. That's like the way my ego thinks. I'm like, it's not weird. No, obviously he's just thinking about me, of course. I'm the one that got away. So I'm scrolling through aimlessly, casually on my timeline. And I see this guy has been tagged in the picture, right? The picture was posted by his either girlfriend or fiance, and he was stood on like a building site type thing, saying, I can't remember the full details, but something along the lines of like, can't wait to start building a home. So they bought like a plot of land together to start building a house on. I was like, I'm sorry, what? I just, part of me thinks there's no way we would have ever made it on that date. Like, if he couldn't ask me out on a date when he was single, he absolutely would have babied out doing it with a missus. I think he was obviously just bored, thinking to himself, shit's about to get serious, let me just get a little hit from somebody, a little tester, have I still got it, a little bit of an ego boost. I know, I'll message Sadie. Who knows why, because I don't think he ever knew that I liked him, because even though I say I'm obsessed with somebody, I can hide it so well. I am literally like the most, what did I get described as before? Indifferent. I got described as really indifferent before. Like, I've just got a good game face, basically, and so he would never have known, like, that I even liked him, I don't think. But for whatever reason, he chose me. And I fell into it. I don't know what his plan was, because I truly don't think he ever would have cheated. That might be naive, but I don't think it was that. Anyway, I see this photo and I'm like, what the hell? So I liked it, to be like, I can see this, I know what's going on, and I'm quite clearly not going out with you. The guy blocked me. He blocked me so fast. Blocked me off everything. And that's the end of that. I've never seen or heard from him again. Hopefully he's happy. Hopefully they're still together. Hopefully it was just a blip. He needed a little bit of an ego hit. And that was that. But so bad and so random. And yeah, in hindsight, would I have liked somebody to say, do you know he's got a girlfriend? Or should I have stalked his social media a little bit? Probably. But I think I'm just like, I wouldn't even call it naive. I just kind of think that if you don't want to be in a relationship with somebody, then why are you in one? So anybody that comes on to me, I assume they're single, because it's so stupid, because I know people cheat, like, including myself. But, like, I don't know, I just would never think to ask somebody if they're single if they chat me up, because I'd be like, well, why else would you? Because obviously when you meet me, you're going to want to be in a relationship with me. That's just like what I think. So you can't be living a double life, and you know this isn't going to be like a one night stand type of thing, because I just don't run around like that. So I just think, are you really going to put a lot of effort into getting to know me if you've got a missus? And I just always assume no, but apparently some people do not. He put that much work into me. Maybe that's why he chose me, because he didn't need the graft, because there was a history there of mutual fancying and nothing happening. But yeah, sliding doors, guys, sliding doors. What would have happened if me and him got together? Would he have messaged his, whoever his girlfriend was at the time? Would he have just flipped and been the other way round because of that time in his life? It's so weird to think about. But yeah, that was quite a long story, but that was my experience from a similar type of thing. The audacity on people. The absolute audacity. Okay, I listened to the craziest podcast the other day. Dark Fantasies. It was a 2-parter, and I was like, ooh, this is just going to spice my day up nicely. I'm going to listen to this. 2 parts of people's fantasies. I was thinking, let me just spice up my day a little bit. This is going to be good. So it starts off very vanilla, and the host, I don't know how old she is, but she sounds in her 50s. I don't know where I'm getting that from, but that would be my guess, right? She's clearly an older woman. And she starts by saying her fantasy, which is having a group of guys around to watch the Super Bowl and serve them in underwear. So being dressed in underwear and serving these guys food. I was like, okay, you do you. It was a nice little warm-up for me, a little teaser, but a little bit vanilla. But it was funny because she was like telling, I think the other guy's name was Tom or something, and she was like, so I told my husband about this fantasy I have about dressing up in my underwear and hosting a room full of guys watching the Super Bowl and just going over to serve them. And she was like, and you know me, Tom, I would never be dressed scantily clad. And I was like, oh my God, this woman is in a different generation quite clearly, because now people whip out their sexual fantasies in the first 2 weeks of meeting. It's like, what do you like? What do I like? Will you let me pee on you? Will you let me spit on you? Let's get out in the open. Am I allowed to do you up the bum? It's best we know now. And then this woman in her 50s is like, and you know me, I'd never be in my underwear, and it's just the craziest thing for her. And she also said that she asked her husband what his sexual fantasy was, and he said, I only fantasize about making love to you. Not even banging, making love, he said. And to be fair, she was like, it's obviously the biggest lie he's ever said, but he's never told her his fantasy. I was like, people are moving mad in their 50s. I am glad I'm in this generation where I can be like, hey, I like this. Are you going to do it for me, or should I move on? I just prefer it. Anyway, started vanilla, then went into incest. I was like, excuse me? Incest? Turns out it was more of a daddy situation. She liked to finish with the words daddy. Still a bit strange to me, and there's a huge thing in porn about stepmom, stepmothers, stepfathers. I don't understand it. Stepbrothers, stepsisters. It's not incest because it's not blood, but it's still a bit messed up. And I've said the story before about the guy. I would say he's my friend now. Who slept with his stepsister or step cousin or something. So it does literally happen. I don't understand it, but I was like, Okay, mommy, daddy, zaddy. I see it. I get it, it's a thing. Then we went into some Jeffrey Dahmer shit. It got real sick real fast. And what I thought the episode was going to be took a turn sharpish. I'm talking paraplegics. I'm talking amputee porn. I'm talking things that I didn't even know existed. And I'm not judging, but I was expecting, like, I like to be tied up, I like to be whipped, whatever. I was expecting, obviously, a little bit of, I like somebody to pee on me. I was not expecting that. Truly was not. But yeah, no judgment. You know, we do not judge on Love What Luck ever. But I just hadn't heard that one. And what was also very unusual is the girl whose story it was straight, and she fantasized about, like, the people in the wheelchair and people that had lost limbs and stuff. She fantasized about other women, so it wasn't men. So she also, like, for some reason, it was like a big psychological thing. For some reason, she wanted the women to be the ones that had suffered. Now, unpack that. That's a case for a therapist, if ever I heard one. Yeah, that's the thing. She said she finds it hard to orgasm. She said she finds it hard to have a real orgasm without having these thoughts. There must be a thing about it. You must be able, she's obviously watching the porn somewhere. And the thing is, right, I'm making bold assumptions here, but I'm sure there's amputees out there that are struggling to find dates. So why didn't she just hit them up? She's, like, so ashamed. She's like, I feel so disgusted by myself. I'm like, hun, you like what you like. You clearly, you say you're straight, but you're clearly not into dick. If you were fantasizing about anything with a woman, clearly you want to dabble a bit. So maybe do that. Maybe go with a girl first with all her limbs and see how that is. Maybe that'll take the edge off a little bit, and then you won't have to look for people that are actually disabled. I can't wrap my head around it. I really can't. And that's not to say that you can't fancy somebody that hasn't got a leg, obviously. Like, that's not the issue. But to fantasize about somebody solely because they haven't got a leg, that's a whole different ball game. She said that she hopes one day that she can tell a partner this story, that they'll hold her and say that, you know, they love me. I was like, well, good luck with that, hun. Because if a guy said to me, my deepest, darkest fantasy is girls who haven't got limbs, I'd be like, holy shit, this man's gonna kill me. This man is gonna cut my legs off, my arms off. He's gonna put me into a wheelchair, not for the reasons that we would like to think, not because of his girth, but because he wants to fuck me without a hand. He wants to fuck me knowing that I can't get up and run from him, and he's a predator, and he's Jeffrey Dahmer, and I would run for the hills and report him to somebody. So good luck with telling somebody that, is all I'm saying, because if I was a guy and the girl said that, I'd be sleeping with one eye open, for sure. She also said that she likes to go out in public and pretend she's lost a limb, or pretend she's injured, or, you know, sit in a wheelchair. And that's obviously getting it off as well. It is funny how people have these different kinks. That was just not what I was expecting. Like, I'm gonna turn myself on right now by bandaging up my arm, and, like, as she's doing it, she's like, oh my god, this is such a turn on. Getting so wet by putting this bandage over my arm and walking out in public, and people thinking that I need assistance because I haven't got a hand. It's unusual is what it is, but wow, what an eye-opener. I actually only came across the podcast as a whole because I was searching for this woman in the podcast, so I love, and she'd been a guest on one of the shows. So I was like, oh, amazing. I listened to that, and then I was like, oh, actually, I quite like this. And I scrolled through the episodes, and yeah, I saw dark fantasies. But when they said dark fantasies, they meant dark fantasies. They meant fantasies that people don't tell a soul. She was brave even getting that shit out, because I would take that secret to the grave. I truly would. Like, imagine me saying to my boyfriend, babe, would you mind if I got a wheelchair in the bedroom and I just straddled you whilst you're in the wheelchair? Will you just do this one thing for me? It's nothing crazy. It's fine. It would just really turn me on if you rolled in on the wheelchair and if I could straddle you, if that would be okay. You'd be like, sorry? What? I'd be like, do you mind just walking in on your knees so we can pretend you haven't got legs? That would just really turn me on. You've got to have somebody with the same kink, because I just couldn't do it. I could not put my arm in a sling for somebody. It just wouldn't run for me, I'm sorry. Thought I was quite open, but apparently not. So naturally, after this, I was like, this is absolutely mental, and I need to bring it to the podcast, but I need to know you guys' kinks. And here's the answers. A guy on Bumble wanted to discuss trying out dom sub relationships. He said he'd love it if I tied him up, blindfolded him, and left him naked in my home whilst I went to work. That would be a huge turn on for him. Quickly realised I'm happy being vanilla. I'm like, as I'm reading, I'm like, dom, sub, yeah, common, tie up, yeah, okay, common, blindfold, yeah. Whilst I go to work all day without a meal and being able to go to the bathroom, that's full torture. I wouldn't survive. That's a good 9-10 hours without having any freedom. Also, 9 hours without your phone. You wouldn't even know what time it is if they didn't have a clock in the bedroom. My God, I would lose my mind. The person would come home, I'd be like, oh, where have you been? It's been 14 days. I don't know how I'm alive. Am I alive? That would not be a turn on for me. And I like a good tie up and all that. Not for 9 hours, hun, sorry. Coming inside and letting it come back out into my mouth and then kissing. I'm trying to work out the logistics of that. I'm guessing that means, these are anonymous by the way, so I can't tell if this is a guy or a girl, but I'm going to assume it's a girl, and she means that after he came inside her, she had to dribble it into his mouth. Because there's no way that a girl could get it out herself. So either way, the guy is going to have to let it dribble back out into his mouth and then kiss to pass the semen to the other person. That's a very unusual one. So I feel like if you ever ask a guy, would you taste your own semen? They're like, oh my God, no, never, no, I wouldn't. And part of me thinks you low-key probably have. If you had a little bit on your finger, would you not just put it in your mouth? I think if I was a guy, I would. I don't know if it's just different for a girl, because like the whole thing with girls is like you do that and it's like a turn on. But if I was a guy, I would just be keen to know what I tasted like, no? I don't think that's a big deal. But if you ask guys, they get like triggered by it, or at least in my experience. So this is a very unusual one, to drink it back out and then kiss. Wild. I like to do a lot of sounding. You may want to Google a sounding rod. Oh my God. Sounding is a kink that involves putting a metal rod in your urethra. What even is that? Wait, is your urethra your bum? Oh my God. Oh my God. It's the pee hole. It's the pee hole. Oh my God, it's the pee hole in the penis. Oh, wait, is it pronounced urethra? Because I think I have heard of that. I don't know. I'm way over my head. I've been so over my head. Oh my God. I'm going to have to Google how you pronounce this word. Urethral or urethra? Can't even fucking spell it. Urethra. Urethra pronunciation. This is what you gotta do, guys, when you're Welsh, you know. Urethra. Okay, it's not urethra, it's urethra. Okay, oh my god. Urethral sounding involves inserting a sound, which is a long, thin rod, typically made of surgical steel, into your urethral opening. Yes, we're talking about the pee hole. Oh my god, I haven't even got a penis and that feels so painful to me. It's actually going through me. Oh. People with vaginas can also experience sounding, however the technique is obviously different. Oh my god. Okay, they're getting it because it feels good. Oh, it feels good. Your urethra actually has a lot of nerve endings that can amount to intense pleasure. If the sound goes deep enough, oh my god. I don't know why I'm getting so triggered by this, because I have not got a penis and I do have something that you insert things into. You go to get a bloody smear and a stranger sticks things inside you as a woman. So I don't know why this is so triggering to me. I think I just always thought it would be painful. I thought it would be painful, but apparently it gives intense pleasure. Oh my word, it's sometimes referred to as the P spot or the male G spot. I am learning so much right now and I couldn't be happier about it. Most people think that it's painful, but it's not if you know what you're doing. Oh my god, imagine you liking somebody just does it wrong and you're in severe pain. It doesn't have to be something that's masochistic. I literally can't put this episode out because I sound like an absolute dum-dum. I've actually done some really tender sounding scenes. In a kink setting, a scene is any sexual activity where all parties have discussed prior what they want and don't want to do. Wow, okay. I like to do a lot of sounding. Okay, well, that was a ride. I started shocked and scared, but I've ended thinking, maybe I'll do it one day. I've never been asked that. I've never been asked to do that. Very interesting. Wow, I actually feel quite exhausted from that journey. But I'm going to go straight in with another one. My partner of 10 years, admiring he's always loved my feet and that he's always visualised me being with other people to get off, talking about me being with others whilst having sex. I can't lie though, it's changed our sex life massively, just being more open about it all. Well, that's what we like to hear. I think that's the biggest thing. If you can be open about what you like, even if it's considered like a little bit, different or like quote unquote non-normal. And then if you meet the right partner and they know like, oh my god, you were weird, you're disgusting, get away from me. If you meet somebody and they're like, wow, okay, let's explore it, that's like the best feeling, the absolute best feeling. And also I think we've all got like some sort of kink. Everybody thinks about something to get them off. I think, especially as a girl, but I think it's very rare that you get off just by the feeling. It's always in your mind as well. Like there's always got to be something that you think about. So everyone's got something. It just depends like who's brave enough to say it and on what level. Like are you, I want to dress up in my underwear for you, or are you, I want you to lose 2 legs? You just, that's like the 2 ends of the scale, apparently. We got another foot one, which I'm not surprised at. Arch of the foot in strappy heels is super attractive to me. I know you don't like feet. Lol, I literally hate them. And men in flip-flops should be banned anyway, but a good-looking female foot in strappy heels makes me proper devil emoji. The foot thing is massive. I don't even think a foot fetish is considered weird anymore because people out there are making bank. They are making paper from feet pics. I saw one on TikTok earlier. Somebody was selling foot pictures for their mother. They were selling pictures of their mother's foot and she bought a brand new Mercedes car out of it. People love feet and I honestly think it's quite normalised these days. I used to collect females. That's a bit of a strange start. I used to collect females that would take pleasure in coming in various underwear or tights and sending them to me. part of that sometimes was role play, me pinching knickers from clients' houses. They would leave them in a certain place knowing I would take them, or come in them and leave. Okay. For some reason, I'm speechless, and I don't know why, because it's really not that shocking. The whole stealing underwear, smelling underwear, very common. Again, people make money from it. I just don't really know what to say about it. So I'm guessing the girls pleasure themselves in the underwear and then pass it on. I mean, fair. Not a kink, but just a reminder that often a good meaningful kiss will get you wetter than a dog's nose. Cute. And, you know, for me especially, when I'm like doing a deed, I gotta start off with kisses and stuff. I can't just like go straight in. So, yeah, you're probably right. What is wrong with a kiss? It does get you in the mood. The right kiss gets you in the mood. I found that my normal kiss with a boyfriend is just a peck, and then when you're going to have sex, you stick the tongue in. Whereas now when you were younger, every time you kissed, you did tongues, didn't you? Or at least I did anyway. Like, if you kissed somebody, it'd be like, or neck, we used to say like, will you neck so-and-so, so-and-so. It would always be full-blown tongues all the time, just kissing. And I feel like as you grow older, I don't kiss with tongues unless I'm about to sleep with you. I wouldn't be like kissing anybody with a tongue for no good reason. My ex's kink was that he wanted to be breastfed. Wasn't for me at all, and would not be for me either, hun. I didn't want to breastfeed a baby, let alone a grown man. That is a lot, and is not for me. Absolutely not for me. Again, no judgment, it's a safe zone. But, oh, no, why? Also, no, I was going to say you couldn't suck a tit anyway. That was like Love Island, Andrew, I sucked a tit or whatever, innit? No, I was going to say, but you can obviously suck a nipple anyway, but there's something, that's like a whole psychological thing. It's going back to mammy issues, that is, because there's something about being fed and being a baby and being looked after, and it just screams therapist to me, I'm going to be honest. My boyfriend wants me to sleep with other men because he thinks it's naughty. He gets turned on by it. I mean, win-win. Win-win, I say. And that's the second message like that we've had. So I think that's quite common. I can't, from the guy's point of view, I don't know, maybe it's just that they feel like you're extra hot and then you're coming back to tell them about it. I don't know. But surely that's the best thing ever. Well, you get to have your boyfriend sleep with him, sleep with another guy that you fancy, and then go back and tell your boyfriend, and then you get so turned on you have like the most amazing sex after. I see no problems there. I think that's all of them. Let me just check to see if I've had another one in last minute at the time of filming. Oh, I have! He was a 10 out of 10 until he asked me to take a number 2 on his chest and allow him to clean me. And then in caps, blocked. I should have known that there was going to be a dumping on my chest situation. I should have known, but it just came at me somehow, surprisingly. That I will never understand. I watched that Dubai video, and I think I've spoken about it before. I watched that Dubai video and it haunted me for days. Absolute days. I couldn't even think about it or talk about it to somebody without heaving. My friend asked me once about it and I had to go to the bathroom to heave. It actually made me sick. Why I even watched it, I don't know. But the thought of being able to watch that and it turn you on, that's probably the thing I can understand least. I also just can't imagine, right? It's obviously a turn on for the guy or girl who's getting dumped on. So my other issue is, as the person that's doing it, and it's not you a kink, how do you feel hot doing it? Like going over somebody and going into like a low squat. I How do you get turned on by it? I don't understand. And also, does he just get erect as he's cleaning you up? Does he sleep with you whilst it's still on his chest? Or do you have to like fully clean it up and then do the deed? I kind of like want more details about this, actually, if anybody's done it. I need to know the logistics of it and how it works. Do you bang, whilst it's still there? Afterwards? Is the cleaning a turn on? I didn't think the cleaning was a turn on until that message. There's a whole other load of questions that can come from that. But yeah, I should have guessed that was going to come up. And the peeing one, obviously, peeing over people, that's quite common, isn't it? I feel like that's just a whole like submissive control thing. But yeah, the wildest kinks, it was a question that didn't let me down. And I remember there was like a few episodes ago where I said I wanted to ask it. And I was just like a bit too embarrassed to do it. I was like, oh, I can't put this on my page, like wildest kinks, I don't know, I was a bit afraid. And then I did it, and then one guy straight away said, well, I'll expose myself to you, no thanks. And then somebody else said, do an anonymous link, and I never knew you could do that. And now I've got that, it just opens everything up. I can do anonymous links. I have no idea who sent me those messages. It's called NGL, the app, and I set it up, I put the link on my story, and it just says I have a response. I can't see anyone's name, I can't see where it came from, I don't know, like I know literally nothing. So it's fully anonymous, so you're safe, guys. But yeah, thank you so much to everybody that answered and got involved, because it's a big thing to tell somebody your kinks, and you told me, and you've actually brightened me up. I knew I'd feel better at the end of this episode. I absolutely knew that I would forget about everything and just be back excited and normal. So yeah, thank you so much. I'm gonna wrap it up. It's a super long episode. This might be the longest episode I've ever done, guys. Just absolutely love doing this podcast, so please leave me a review. I'm on over 100 reviews. We made it on Spotify. Yeah, finally, I celebrate all my little wins. It absolutely makes my day. Any comment you send me, any review I see, if you follow me, I'm doing a giveaway when I reach 1,000 followers on Spotify and 1,000 followers on YouTube. I'm going to do 2 giveaways. We're on like 700 or 800 on Spotify, so we're super close, and we're on over 500 on YouTube, so we're halfway. So we're getting there. And yeah, please guys, help the podcast get out, because I just absolutely love it. And we need to hear more of your stories. These need to be shared, and hopefully you feel better for sharing them as well. I mean, people who shared their kinks, they're obviously getting something for sharing, so I think it's all good, all fun. And yeah, thank you so much for listening, and I'll speak to you next week.